Welcome
Awesome,
to our
awesome.
webinar today. You want me to start, Stephen, or do you want to?
Kick it off, kick it off.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome to our webinar today. Really excited to be meeting with Steven from AutoOps. We're going to be talking about scheduling and the awesome stuff that Steven has brought into the market and how he's literally changed our automotive industry. We were talking about this yesterday and all the good stuff that Steven's been doing with helping shops make their scheduling easier. It's so much better for our customers and got a lot of good stuff we're going to go over today. So thank you, Steven, for being here with us today.
Yeah, no, super excited and very thankful that yeah, you had me on. It is, I mean, it's crazy what we're going to talk about today. And once again, I will mention AutoOps because that's the company I started, but online scheduling is really what we're talking about. And I mean, if you I'll talk about this a little later. It did not, this concept, no one was talking about this before January 2023, a year and a half ago. This concept of like actually caring about online scheduling did not exist. No one was thinking that this is a way that we can make our lives easier, get new customers in the door, engage with customers in a new way. So yeah, it's crazy. And we'll go into a quick little introduction first, and then we'll get into things. But yeah, I'm Steven Fafel. I'm one of the original co-founders of AutoOps. Even these numbers, the numbers change so frequently. I think we're in over 1,700 shops now. They change constantly by the minute. But yeah,
Cool.
all we focus on here is integrate online scheduling. So I've definitely thought through online scheduling a lot. The little story that I think some people know. Before this, the other three co-founders of AutoOps were at a company that did online scheduling in the home services space. So this is not our first rodeo thinking about this. Obviously, all AutoOps focuses on is just auto shops now. And yeah, how can we streamline the booking process, get more profits in the door, and give customers a great experience?
No, it's a good thing. Yeah, you guys have a great reputation in the industry. It's awesome to be able to for you to take time for us today and be able to talk with our customers and just give people more information on how to improve that online booking. It's so important, right?
Well, we need to work on the first sentence of yours, which is over 30 years. I think we're about to crack 2 years, so we're working up toward 30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good, and it's yeah. We help shop owners. To those of you who don't know us, I'm Darrin Barney. I'm the owner of Elite Worldwide. We do coaching, consulting, peer groups. We do a lot of sales training. We just try to make the automotive industry a better place. That's our goal at the end of the day. That's what we're trying to do is elevate the industry and improve it. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules, everybody, for being here with us. And Steve and I are going to do our best to give you guys lots of value today and make it worth your while. So. All right, you ready
Yeah,
to get
well,
going?
I'm ready to get going. And yeah, I mean, this first slide rolls into what we were talking about, which is this concept has existed in every other industry since, I mean, what? When did travel switch over? When's the last time you called a travel agent? It's all booked online. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
automotive space or I think the flight industry was the first one to switch over to modern online scheduling. But then, yeah, restaurants followed this out. Your dentist does it, your doctor's office, everyone is focusing on this. And really, the whole reason is that customers' expectations are shifting. When we talk about anything today, if you get the feeling like, I don't know if online scheduling is, I don't know if that'll work out. That we can talk about. That's a great question. But what I can guarantee you is that customers want it. You might think, oh, do I want this? Customers want it. This is what they're used to in every other type of industry. And the question is, and what we've thought through is, how do you get it over to the automotive industry? Great, we know customers want it. How do we get it to where it also makes shops' lives easier? And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Quick
That's great.
stats for some of you guys that don't know. These statistics are pulled from, they do a online booking survey, which basically spans across, I think it spanned across like 12 industries this year. 72% of people are more likely to switch to a provider who offers online scheduling. And I talk about this a lot, and this is a little bit of a sad point, and Darrin, you give me your take on this, is that some of the issues is that people are starting to view shops more comparable as the general knowledge of cars go down. Darrin, when you were younger, most people just had a higher automotive knowledge than they do these days.
Oh
These
yeah.
days I talk to some of my friends and they're like, I can't change a tire. If you took a poll out there and said, can you change your tire? The answer 40 years ago, I have to believe would have been double higher. So
Yeah.
when people don't understand the quality of service, once again, is it important to have ASE certified techs? Absolutely. Should you have good techs? Should you perform great service? Absolutely. But some customers, they sadly don't know what is good service and what is not good service. And what they care about is, can you make it easy to do business with? Am I correct on that, Darrin? Do you feel like people have
Yes.
lower automotive knowledge than they
Oh
used to?
yes. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you think about it though. I mean, a lot of the younger generation, they just haven't been trained that. I remember learning from my dad how to change a tire. And it's just something that
Yeah.
I think as time progresses more and more, a lot of those simple, basic things that I take for granted, aren't being taught. It's just different. We have different priorities now, different things in life.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I feel like
I
people
agree.
used to be able, yeah, I think people used to be able to evaluate the service they got from their auto shop a lot better than they can now. Now people are like, I think I got good service, but really the things that can be a differentiator are things that are digital. Are things is, was it easy for me to get in? That's a lot of times you would be shocked at the amount of people who leave reviews. And in the review, they talk more about the scheduling process than they did the actual service, which is a little sad, but that's just, once again, it's shifting these days.
Yeah, just people
And
want
this is really what
convenience.
it's, yeah. And this is really what it's shifting away from. This is various screenshots I've got from various different websites. This is usually what people are, when we're talking about modern online scheduling, this is what they're starting with, a contact form. And the whole point is no one's really dying to fill out a contact form. People say, I can't remember the last time I personally have filled out a contact form. People see a contact form, and even without, they're just like, yeah, I'll just call the shop later. And then they forget, and they never end up calling. So this is really what people are switching away from. It takes,
Right.
for the customer, it takes too long to fill out. It's there's nothing that's engaging about it, nothing that makes you want to interact with it, and you don't trust that, like, you're just going to get a call.
Right.
And once again, if most people have the form on the website, they're like, I'm going to get a call. So this is
Cool.
really what they're switching away from.
Okay. So that's the bad way. That's the
And
old way.
this is the process at many shops who are not using modern online scheduling. Is someone goes to the website, you
Right.
fill out the form, the service advisor gets that form, calls back the customer, talks to the customer. Hey, I saw you want an oil change at 8 a.m., but since it's not integrated with your shop management system, we're full at 8 a.m. We can't do that. Then the customer tells them, hey, this is when I can actually do it. They then go, take all the information, type it in their shop management system. And really what we're trying to get it to is, can a customer just go, book an appointment, works perfectly with your shop management system, where they don't have to, if they want, they don't have to talk to a
Right.
service advisor in the beginning. They're still going to get in the shop. But this is really what we're trying to change the process to. And once again, are they still going to go in the shop? And that's really where customer service comes in, going, greeting someone at the door. But for people who want to engage online, this is what the process should look like.
That's awesome. Okay.
So, and this is something where I'd be interested. I want to hear Darrin's thoughts on it. But once again, if people want to chime in throughout this, they can definitely chime in throughout this. Up front, I know a lot of people are still like, online, I'm going to lose. There's all kinds of fears around it. Darrin, when you hear this, when you're talking to shoppers, what do you think is the biggest concern for shoppers when they're thinking about integrated scheduling?
Well, what scares me and why I still haven't done it is the fact that, I mean, so I have highly trained technicians that are good at certain jobs, and so if I have a customer that calls us wanting to do a ring and pinion swap into his vehicle, how can I make sure that one of my good techs that's gifted at doing ring and pinions is the guy that does that, and not it be assigned to one of my general service techs?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great answer. And that is what I would say, once again, in general, for certain shops, is it going to be more complex than others. But for a lot of shops, they're generally concerned about, I'm losing control over, because when I have a service advisor talk to every customer, they have a little bit of a better understanding of what the customer needs, and
Yeah.
then they can get that to a specific technician.
Yep. That's
And yeah, people are concerned about double booking,
of course.
overbooking, not having the technicians. Yeah, well, like you said, not having the technicians that can do specific service. Some people are also concerned about, like, hey, yeah, is my customer going to get frustrated because they're used to doing it one way, or they're used to, is my customer not going to be able to shift to this? So these are all concerns that we will cover
Right.
later, but I can tell you we have answers for all of
I
these
know.
when
That's why
that
I'm
comes
excited.
in.
That's why I was so excited to do this webinar today, because I know you guys got this dialed in now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And then when you're thinking on the good side, Darrin, when you're thinking about, hey, what are you like? I think it could help me in this way. What are kind of the things where you're like, this could benefit me?
Well, I mean, a lot of the younger generation loves to do stuff online. They love to be able to look and book out and figure out when works for them. I mean, why not make it easier for the customer? That's a big thing that I like here, is it's going to make it easier for the customer to work with us and get a schedule. Because we get requests at
Yeah.
2 a.m. sometimes from people wanting to come into the shop, and it's like, I don't have anybody around to answer an email at 2 a.m. in the morning, but if they can go and pick their time of when they want to come in, that seems pretty exciting.
Yeah. And if anyone from the audience wants to throw in some general concerns they have, or thoughts about how it could possibly help them,
Does
we're going to
anybody in the
touch on them
audience
all
even
later.
have, does anybody in the audience have a question for us, or what their concerns are about online scheduling? If so, just write it in the chat right there, and Sarah will keep an eye on it and let us know.
Yeah, they will pop back in. But yeah, a lot of the stuff you
Yeah.
said, people are on the benefit side. They're curious of like, okay, A, can this get me more cars in the door? Because I've heard about it. Could it get me more cars in the door? And can it save me more time? Because I understand they have an integration. Is it going to create them smoothly? But if it does create them smoothly, I could save a lot of time. So that's usually the fight that's going on in people's head.
Yeah.
Um, Going over some of those problems, really some of the solutions that we're trying to provide problems for in a way that stays away from the fears, is it's it's an operational waste. Long phone calls, sitting on the phone call when a customer doesn't even want to be on the phone. They're like, if I had the option to schedule online, I would. Sitting on the phone, manual data entry into the shop management system, double booking, overbooking. That's a lot of the issues we're seeing on the operational side. For the consumer, they don't love filling out a contact form. They don't have a clear expectation of what's going to go on when they submit that. Did I just book my appointment? Am I going to get a call that then they confirm my appointment? After hours, it definitely does not feel like a live process. You just won't hear back for a while.
Right.
And a lot of times, if you're using a contact form, there's not a confirmation. There's lots of people who have contact forms on their website. They fill it out and nothing happens immediately. They're just like, did that just submit? What is going on here? One of the other things we're going to talk a lot about today is the ability to track you're spending money on marketing. Can we track actually how that's performing? When someone calls in your shop randomly, I know some people are trying to ask customers, where did you hear about us from? You will never get as good data from compared to online scheduling, where I can say they clicked on this, they went here, they came here, they booked. When you are able to see exactly where a customer booked from, instead of, hey, you send out a text blast, you say, give the shop a call. Call tracking, you may be able to get some data from all this stuff, but it'll
Right.
never be as clear as they clicked here, they booked an appointment. So being able to get that is huge for shops.
That's great.
Really, what we're focusing on here at AutoOps, and what we'll go over some of it, is it's going to be fully integrated with your shop management system, complex scheduling intelligence. That's where we're going to be able to see some of the stuff when you have concerns around, do I have a tech who can handle this service? Being able to set things up in a scheduling tool to be able to say, when it comes to rack and pinion services, when it comes to AC and heat services, when it comes to anything engine related, we can only take one of these per time slots on Tuesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Being able to set all that where it's looking in your shop management system and seeing, great, I see one of those services for this technician, I cannot book another one. So
Okay.
that's where the complex scheduling intelligence comes in, collecting better information about the service. And this is something I'd be interested to get your take on, because that's another concern people have, is how am I actually going to know what the customer wants done? Is your are a lot of times service advisors, people then act like the opposite, is that like when they call my shop, my service advisor is getting perfect information. Well, no, the customer still doesn't have their vehicle there. You're still
Right.
getting as good of information as the customer can explain. I mean, what's your expectations for service advisors when collecting information about service?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we've got to have good phone number. We got to have good contact information. We got to have, a good vehicle description of what the vehicle is, what the problem is. Number one is what the customer's concern is, and how are we going to take care of it.
Yeah.
So we got
And
to
that's
have
what I
lots
was,
of good notes.
yeah. When digging into, like, how much do you expect the service advisor to collect information about the issue that the customer's having?
Oh goodness. I mean, in an ideal world, we train them that we really want them to get as much information as they can. The more information, the better. I mean, you can't have too much when it
Yeah.
comes to helping a customer solve a problem, because if we
Yeah.
can't give our techs good information, then it's more of a pain for our techs to deal with and our customers as well. So yeah, the more information, the
Yeah.
better. Now, in reality, does
Definitely.
that happen? We're
Yeah.
hoping that it does, but we definitely try for it to happen. But I mean, Yeah, it definitely needs improving.
And the one part we talk about with shop owners a lot is, you know, we want to duplicate what the service advisor is trying to do. We try to ask these same questions, but you're never going to have perfect information because we're getting information from a customer who's bringing your car to the shop because they don't know how to fix their car. They don't know
Right.
what's wrong with the car. So I think we do a great job at collecting as good, if not better, information than a service advisor collects.
Cool.
The key is making it engaging and easy to go through for customers. Any type of online scheduling that you're using, it has to be easy to use. So there's things with the integration with your shop management system where we can pull up customer information in the scheduling process so that they don't have to enter their name, their email, their phone number, their vehicle, their address, because we already pulled out things that we do like that to just make it easier and frictionless for customers. For example, one thing that people don't think through is when you see a contact form, you're seeing what, 20 fields at once.
Right.
With good online scheduling tools, it's, hey, just start out by selecting what's wrong with your car. Oh, great. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. So breaking it down to steps also makes it much more easy for
Okay.
customers
Not as
to
intimidating.
not as intimidating. And yeah,
Okay.
making it customized and personalized for your shop is huge. There's a bajillion customizations in any online scheduling tool that you guys use. And being able to make it personalized for your shop, does the color and theming match? It's always disorienting when you click on something on a website and then it like pops open to a third page and it looks totally different. You're like, what's going on here? You should make sure that your online scheduling matches the persona of your shop and especially the shop's website.
That's something that AutoOps does.
Yeah, yep. And I can run
Cool.
through. Let me pull this next page here. Let me run through a real quick, and once again, I'm going to show you our scheduling tool. And we'll talk on some of those things to help understand. But once again, there are other options for scheduling tool out there. Go look at all the different scheduling tools out there and see what's the best for your shop. But in general, the way online scheduling would work is it would just replace the contact form that you have on your website.
Okay.
So you'd be able to click on it, you'd be able to set up all this information about service. I mean, this is where we're working on collecting better information for your shop. So when I select brakes, same thing as service advisor that you would train over the phone to say, hey, when someone says, I have an issue, hey, I'm having an issue with my brakes, what kind of questions you should ask them? Hey, do you hear a squealing sound? What kind of, are you feeling like a pulsating at the brake? What are you
Yeah.
feeling? So you can set up this to really match your customers' expectations.
So
Hey, is it both the brakes?
are these all pre-done? You guys have already built all these, right? So there's a shop owner, I don't need to go in and build these, then they're already done. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So you'll have a
Yeah.
default, and then you can customize it from there. Most shop owners maybe change about 5%. Some of the other stuff that we're pretty excited about and that we should have done a while ago is making ones for specific types of vehicles. Once again, we should have one for off-road shops. We have enough of off-road shops using AutoOps. We should have like a default issue tree. We're working on some of that. Just so, but once again, for the default
Right.
issue tree we have for full service shops is great.
Okay.
So this is already all built out. No, you could start in 2 seconds. One thing that's cool is that, service advisors, a lot of the times, Darrin, how often would you say service advisors are getting pictures or videos of the vehicle before it gets in the shop?
They don't. Yeah.
They don't.
Not
Do they
unless
ever
not
text
unless
customers
the
and get a,
yeah, I mean, not unless there's something weird going on and the advisors, knows to ask that question for sure. But yeah, it's not going to happen on 95% of the appointments that are scheduled.
yeah. We've seen some shops say, hey, yeah, we have people texting pictures, but with AutoOps, we probably, the last time I looked, it doesn't sound like a huge number, but it's helpful that 21% of people were adding a photo or video. So once again, would we like to get that higher? But having 1 out of every 5 people attach a video
Yeah,
or
that's
a
pretty
picture
cool.
of the sound their car is making is sweet.
Wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
that's been exciting. Yeah. This is really where the frictionless part comes in. When a customer types in their phone number, it'll go in the shop manager system, but being able to recognize a when they see their name pop up,
Yeah.
they're like, wait, okay, this knows who I am. This is great. This is where we talk about making an engaging experience for your customer and making it easy. They don't have to fill out all that information. They don't have to go through and type out every single field. It just pops up all for them. And I don't know, it has to feel. I'm not gonna lie. I scheduled on AutoOps the first time for a real reason. Like I scheduled at a shop that uses AutoOps near me, and
Right.
it is still cool, like seeing your car pop up. Because I hadn't actually I'd been to this shop like years ago and I forgot
Yeah.
that my information was in there. I typed in my number and you're like, wow, that's sweet. So a lot of people don't bail out after this, which is pretty cool just because it's much more engaging. Another cool part that any online scheduling tool, and once again, I'm definitely not afraid, there's other scheduling tools that have these type of features. When I select a vehicle, being able to pull that deferred work from your shop management system and upsell it to your customers is huge. So this is looking, and Darren, do you mind me asking what shop management system you use at the shop?
TechMetric. Yep.
Right. So yeah, let's say you're using TechMetric, let's say you're using Shopware, ProTract, or ShopMonkey, Mitchell One, Allright, or NapaTrax, being able to pull that deferred work and recommend to the customers while scheduling. When it comes to deferred work, once again, this doesn't sound like a huge number, but it is huge for shops, is that when we're looking at current customers who are scheduling,
Right.
it pulls up their information and shows them decline work. So when we look at that, 12% of people who are shown decline work are adding it automatically. And I mean, I don't know if you keep track of your shop, Darren, but most shop owners I talk to, they'll have $400,000 in decline work that doesn't get
Of
sold each
course.
year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you increase that by 1%, it's huge for shops.
Right. That's a lot. Especially if you're saying,
Yeah.
what do you think was 12%, right? 11%?
11%.
Yeah, 11%. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Without having to do anything
So
extra.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And the other thing is it brings up. How would you say is your goal when you're coaching service advisors, is your goal that if they have deferred work, it is brought up every single time that they come into the
Yeah,
shop? There's no
of course
reason
it
that it
is.
should not be brought up.
No, there's
So
no reason why it should
yeah,
not be brought up. It should be brought up every time.
yeah.
Yep.
And something we've heard from shops is that even the people who don't select it, it helps the conversation more because they already saw this. They're kind of already expecting, and then by the time they get in the shop, they're like, yeah, I know, I got to get my cabin air filter done. Yeah, okay, let's get it done.
Yeah.
So even just helping start the conversation is huge.
That's cool.
Ooh, I do have an interesting question for people. I'd love if we have anyone in the audience give some feedback on this. So right now we have the option for customers to drop off their vehicle, we have the option for people to drop off or wait for their vehicle. Shops can select which services are drop off only, which ones are waiter eligible. Do you have any services that you would have someone wait for at your shop, Darren?
No, no way.
Yeah.
Nope.
So all your jobs are a little longer. So yeah, you could have everyone marked as drop off only. You could have this page to help people let they know that they cannot wait. Some people like it, but you could also remove this page as well.
Okay.
Now, one thing that is interesting, does anyone here still, because I know it was popular during COVID, does anyone offer to pick up customer vehicles? Does anyone offer that at a wide scale to their shop owners? I'd love to see something in the
Of
chat
course we do. Yeah.
about this. Yes, nurses, sweet.
Yes.
So we just added it's the most recent thing we added to AutoOps is the ability to put in here that, hey, do you want to wait for your vehicle? Do you want to drop it off? Or do you want us to pick it up? If you want them to pick it up, there's all kinds of scheduling controls. So Darren, I'm sure you'd say, hey, it's limited to 30 miles and we can only pick it up at these times of the day and all that kind of stuff. So we set it up with all kinds of schedule settings where you can then offer for the customer, hey, they can select that I want my vehicle picked up. It'll ask for their address. So I know it got big during COVID, and we heard from our customers that 40% of our customers are still offering to pick up customers' vehicles.
Yeah.
So
why not make it easy for them to come to you, honestly,
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
Here they'll select a time. Obviously, we're just seeing times, but like you said, I'd say probably 40% of all of our development time at AutoOps goes into availability and control settings. Based on the service that we see, based on things like even the type of customer, is it a new customer? Based on if they're dropping off or waiting, there are so many schedule settings that you can control when people can schedule your shop. If we see that they want to come in for once again, even if you on your issue tree, Darren, if you had, hey, a rack and pinion service, you could have it obviously marked as drop off only, but then you could say, hey, listen, we can only do those we have one spot and we like to save it for after lunch. And then, yeah, you could say, great, they're only going to show one spot. If there's already one in TechMetric, we can't do it anymore and we're full for that day. So when it comes to types of appointments per time slot, amount of hours per day, the soonest you want someone to be able to schedule a drop-off appointment, how many break services you want to do total in a day. There's so many schedule settings, which the companies are building more and more. It gets so granular. Like you could say, hey, for customers who are a new customer, I only want new customers to be able to schedule oil changes on Wednesdays. I mean, there's so many different types of settings you can do to
That's
control
cool.
this. It's gotten crazy.
Austin asked a question here. Do you have any integrations in the scheduling for requesting a tow or other roadside assistance services?
That's a great question. So a lot of people on their issue tree will customize something to say, hey, my vehicle is broken down now. Like I am broken. And there's a shorter flow when they click on that that'll just say, hey, I request a tow. Here's my address. So you can set that up in AutoOps, which is great. We also have some people, and to be honest, the only reason I hesitate is sometimes I even recommend having that as a button on the website outside of your scheduling. So you would basically have a button on your website that says schedule service and one that says request a tow, where it just will send a quick form or even just direct them to call right away. I mean, you want as many people as humanly possible in, you want them to get, if they want to get in your shop, you want to get them in your shop. So sometimes just having that go directly to a phone number is honestly better than them having them fill out a form. But yeah, we just have people who will customize the issue tree to add things to say, hey, I need a tow, have this option, skip straight to calling the shop.
Very cool.
Loaner cars, ride share. Do you have a loaner cars at your shop, Darren?
No, we have shuttle service.
Sure. Yeah, shuttle service. A lot of people say, even like this is why the customizable notes come into play. Being able to say, hey, if we can offer a shuttle if you're within 10 miles. There's even little, if I actually go back here, there's little like pop-ups. Not that one, the middle one. Little pop-ups that you can have to say all kinds of notes. You'll see like a lot of customizable notes on this page, a lot of customizable notes here, just to always help set customer expectations.
Yeah, very cool.
A couple things here. So great. They would go through and book this appointment, confirms all their information. Customers can add to their own calendar. Another big thing is, how do we get these customers to actually show up? They scheduled their appointment. How do we get them to show up? Would you say you have a pretty good no-show rate, Darren, or a lot of the shops you talk to? What's like an average no-show rate?
Oh goodness. So what we do is we do a reminder text message 3 days in advance, and then the day before the advisor actually physically calls each customer. So that really helps them lower that down, because I don't like having my guys standing around. So I don't know what the percentage is, but it's pretty low. It still happens every once in a while, but it's pretty low. Because that's what nurses ask too, is how do you handle no-shows?
Oh, great. Yeah. So it was, So in terms of no-shows, a couple things. A great online scheduling experience will help with no-shows. For example, when you see your name pop up and you feel much more committed to the appointment, there's definitely something, and I don't have data to prove this, but when you see your name pop up and then you book that appointment, you feel more tied to it. You're like, they know that I'm supposed to come to the shop. It wasn't just like a contact form. When it feels more like a live process, you're like, it feels like almost like I reserved a table at a restaurant. Like I'd feel bad. I should tell them, or I should do something. And people feel much more committed than just a contact form that they fill out. Now, getting into the actual specific things we do, allowing customers to add it to their calendar is critical. Being able to add to their calendar so they can remember to show up. And then the other thing is, we can handle confirmation text, reminder text. But if people do it through another platform, you can do it through, let's say you're using a different CRM platform. You could, because we're pushing the appointment into the shop management system, the CRM automatically picks it up and they can send their reminders out. So you could do reminders through us. You could do reminders through a CRM platform. I've always thought it's interesting on what to recommend in terms of when to send your reminders.
Right.
I personally, I'm like, send a bunch of reminders. I usually go 3 day out, 1 day out, morning of, and 1 hour before. Some people think that's a little overkill. I don't know. Get them to show up.
But
show
it's
up for
so
your appointment or
frustrating
tell us.
when you have a tech standing around that's wanting to work and there's no job for him, So, I mean, what's wrong with pestering them a little bit? I mean, obviously we don't want to go overboard, but reminding them to make sure they know the appointment, I think is a great idea.
Yeah. So you can set this up. You can customize them to say whatever you want. Here's something that's interesting. I'd love to get people's perspective on this around rescheduling and canceling. People have asked us a lot, hey, can you guys add like a reschedule and cancel button in the text message you send out? We're probably going to do a reschedule button at some point. I don't think we'll do a cancel button. And the
Okay.
reason is my philosophy is I want to make it as easy for the customers to book, and I want to add a little bit of friction if they want to cancel. If they
Sure.
want to cancel or reschedule, I think the best thing is customize your confirmation text. Say, hey, thanks for scheduling. Great, you're all good to go. If you want to cancel or reschedule, give the shop a call. Get on the phone with us so we can start to build that relationship with you. So we can try to find another time that actually works for you. So we can try to convince you, no, please come to our shop. Um, that's what I found is I think the best way to do it.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah, appointments booked goes into your shop management system directly on the calendar, sends your shop an email, so it's not a huge operational change,
Yeah.
and then it can send confirmation and reminder text. So once again, there's a lot of online scheduling platforms out there. This is one option, but I think just helping people know the options for what they have when it comes to being able to switch their contact form to online scheduling. No matter which scheduling tool you use, obviously AutoOps has a little more bells and whistles, but it's going to be a similar experience to this. And yeah, I mean, there is a ton of some of the stuff we'll talk about is, how do we actually, yeah, why
What is
is why
that?
is it truly like you should make it happen over what was that?
What is the 30-second scheduling philosophy? What is that?
I'd be curious to hear yours first. What it like when it comes to if you had to sum up, because a lot of people are like, hey, how do I set up some of, I don't know, all these schedule settings. We just tell them, well, okay, what's your scheduling philosophy? Tell us and then we'll help you set up. But if I said to you, Darren, and I'm interested if people in the audience could sum it up quicker.
Yeah.
Hey, if when you're training a service advisor and they're looking at your calendar, hey, how do I know if we can have someone in the shop today?
They're going to have to call in and talk to service advisor and see if there's any openings. Yeah,
But I'm saying when the service advisor is then looking at your calendar in Techmetric, like you're like, hey, we could take 10 appointments per day. It
yeah.
can't be more than 40 hours of work, and we can only do a certain amount of heavy jobs at each time slot. Like if you were explaining to a service advisor, hey, how do we actually know if we have availability?
Yeah, they go and they look at the schedule. That's the way that they're going to do it because we run our schedule very tight, and so no matter what, it's constantly changing. But we have a guy that's over the schedule, and that's his job to make sure that everything's up to date the best it can be constantly. That way, we know if we can
Yeah.
get extra, give somebody work done, then we do.
Yeah. So is it more hours based, like just seeing like,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
this is the amount of hours that we could do today?
yes, yep,
Gotcha. Yeah. And so that's really what we try to get to shops is like, do you schedule? I can take a certain amount of hours at the shop. I can take a certain number of appointments today at the shop. I can take a certain types number of, hey, I can take 3 of this type of service, 4 of this type of service, 5. So getting shops to really dial down and it helps it helps to set up a scheduling tool, but then it helps
right,
to be able to, it's kind of the same thing that would go into an SOP for a service advisor. Hey, how do we know if we have availability? And trying to get shops to
right,
really dial down to get away from when it comes to just growing their shop of getting away from like, Doug has this magical thing in his head where he can look at a calendar and he just figures it out. He talks to some techs. But if you want things to scale, really getting down to like, how do we know? Like if I had to write it down, how would we
yeah,
know if we have availability when we're looking at our calendar in the shop? So and then yeah, for a lot of shops, so you said, yeah, obviously I would say the best thing is manage all of your appointments in your shop management system. Get really dialed with your team on nothing on a napkin that might get into it later. Make sure everything gets in the shop management system. And that's I mean, if you're not doing that, that's definitely a great first step
okay,
toward being able to get more appointments in.
great,
This is some of the stuff we were talking around schedule settings. This stuff is key for online scheduling. This is how shop owners are going to feel comfortable. Being able to define a duration for a specific service and then understand, can we have that? And another big part is obviously being able to read the availability in their shop management system and being able to understand the types of services that are already scheduled. Is there a type of service or a specific job at your shop that is always kind of difficult to schedule?
I mean, anything to do with diagnostic stuff, testing.
Yeah. And when this is an interesting question. So when you're in your calendar and let's say someone comes in trying to get some diagnostic work done, if you find out this is going to be a huge job, do you expand that appointment on the calendar to take up all that time?
Of course, we
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's definitely Yeah, because sometimes I know people fight the balance of, it's just for like when we have appointments, but I think the best way is truly tracking how long this job is taking. So that's also another great
But you
tip to
have
learn, is
to.
just
I mean,
really
that
get in the
way,
habit of
otherwise you don't
understanding
know
this.
how many hours they got left to sell. You know, if you know it's going to be, it comes in as a 2 hour testing package, then we know that we've got to set it up for that. And then of
Yeah.
course, depending on what we find, it goes from there. And we run right now, we're a month and a half out, almost 2 months. And so it really becomes a nightmare to schedule that stuff and make sure that, the technician's got enough time, but yet still be able to get new customers in as well. It's a pain in the rear right now, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That is it's not the worst problem to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Does Elite as a whole, do you guys have a specific coaching philosophy of like, we like everyone tracking by hours? Like, you should know how many hours you have left to sell by looking at your shop management system
That's
calendar.
no, because every shop is set up differently. And so for me to go in and tell somebody that they have to do things a certain way, a lot of that's left up to the coach to be able to look at that business and see what works best for them. But it's very recommended to look at the hours wise though, and sell off of that, because that way, you know what you're doing each day. You can maximize that opportunities. So, but a lot of shops do go off of appointments, but really we encourage hours.
Yeah, that
Yes,
is
sir.
that's great.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip this one for now. I want to skip to some of the marketing stuff a little bit since we talked about this. This is a really interesting piece that has been introduced into once again, the companies that are engaged in online scheduling. This is something that popped up about AutoOps introduced it. I think it was popped up around 6 months ago. The concept of, and once again, we just stole this from other industries. We saw other industries doing. We saw Amazon doing it. All the big dogs is saying, if people start scheduling and stop, why are we not using that information? We know that someone was interested in scheduling. In our scheduling tool, if someone goes in, selects a service, they put in their phone number, they select a vehicle, they get to the calendar, and they leave. And that's the most common part that people bail out at. They go to look at their own personal scheduler, their
Of course.
grandma calls, they get distracted, they leave at that point. We're saying that's really valuable information for a shop. How can
Right.
we get this information over to a shop? So what we do in AutoOps is that if people leave in the middle of scheduling, we would send you over an email with all their information and we'd put it in the dashboard where then
Okay.
your shop can decide your philosophy on following up with customers. So this is something that, if you have a contact form on your website and you are spending a bunch of money on marketing,
Mhm.
right now you have no idea how many people come to your website, start in on your contact form, get confused, have some question, wondering about time, they leave, and then they never come back.
Yeah.
So I think being able to get this through online scheduling is super key.
That's really neat that it tracks that, lets you know how many people leave before they actually book. That's really cool.
Yeah. And another thing that we were always talking with shops about is, how do you want to follow up with these people? Some people are like, hey, I'm going to send them a text. Some people think that, hey, text could be a little weird if they didn't actually complete it and they'll call. Overall, we've heard really good responses, especially on phone calls. I have never heard yet, and I'm kind of surprised because I thought at first if people got calls, they were gonna be like, "Hey, why are you calling me?" I, I'm sure, has it happened in AutoOps history? Sure, probably once, but from what I've heard, anecdotally, the feedback has been great. People calling customers and they say, "Oh yeah, thanks for giving me a call. I got super confused when I was scheduling my Tacoma. I didn't know if you guys could do X service." Or, "Hey, yeah, thanks for giving me a call. I didn't know what the price was going to be, and I just got stressed and I bailed out." So a lot of these people get converted at a higher rate than you would expect, and they're happy when you call them.
Very cool.
So cool
Okay.
part.
Yeah.
This is starting to get into what I was just talking about here when we're talking about, the whole reason that, once again, me and my brother started AutoOps mostly because my father whined to us a lot about not being able to get in at his local shop, and that he kept calling them after hours when he got home, and he'd say, "I get home after work every single night. I call the shop, they never answer. They never answer. I can never talk to them during the day. I'm too busy to call them." So we said,
Right.
"Okay, let's start something after hours." But the other thing was, the part where it really clicked in our head is, shops are spending so much generally. And I'm not saying they're overspending. I'm just saying marketing costs a lot. It just
Yeah.
costs a lot. They're spending thousands of dollars a month. What online scheduling is focused on is, can we convert them at the highest rate possible? So what we've really been thinking about as we've continued thinking about more and more scheduling is, how do we convert people through any channel? So
Okay.
Obviously, I want to see if in the chat, maybe we can have some people throw some stuff in. Let's think through all the different channels that people market through. Will you want to go back and forth there, and I'll throw one out, you throw one out. See
Sure.
how long we can go. Okay. They advertise on Google.
Yeah, word of mouth.
They send mailers.
Yeah, Google AdWords,
Oil change stickers.
mailers,
They have signage out front their shop.
swag,
Facebook, Twitter, all the social medias.
sponsorships.
So as you can see here, there's a ton of different ways that shops are marketing. When you're thinking through online scheduling, the key is engage with customers how they want to engage with you. If someone wants to call your shop, that's great.
Right.
And give your shop a call. But when you're marketing them, give them the option to say, hey, I don't really want to call in the shop. I'm busy during the day. I just got home. I saw this mailer. I don't have time to call the shop. I just got home about to eat dinner. I don't want to get on the phone.
Yeah.
So what we really focused on is, and I can actually go to this next page here. I want to go to, I'll go to this page here real quick. So being able to use things such as QR codes and links that you can create in AutoOps, you can create these, helps provide the option to schedule online no matter how you're marketing them. So if you're sending out a mailer,
Yep.
we recommend to shops, great, have a phone number, say, hey, call the shop. But you could also have a QR code where they could scan it, goes directly to your scheduling, and then you can track how it's performing. I think I have a screenshot here somewhere, but you can then track how it's performing.
Okay.
People, probably the most success we've heard is QR codes on oil change stickers. That's been a huge way that shops have seen a ton of bookings through those. That instead of just looking up and being like, oh yeah, it says call, or it just sheds when my next oil change is, have a little QR code they can scan in their car right there, and then boom, they're
Right.
scheduling, and you're able to track.
Yeah.
Same thing with a link. If you're putting a Facebook post, give a customer the option to say, hey, I want to schedule online. So
Sure.
that's been a really big part that we focused on.
Okay.
How much would you say that most shops are spending on marketing a month that you're working with?
It depends. Anywhere from 3 to 6% is what we see as standard.
Yeah. And that's of
it really
annual
varies depending on the size
revenue.
of the shop. Correct.
Wow. Yeah. So the whole point is, and kind of going back to this picture, this is the whole flow of, you're spending all this money on marketing.
Yep.
It's usually taking them to somewhere digital. And then this is where online scheduling comes in. We're the conversion point that actually takes the viewer from the marketing and gets them to be a customer in your shop management system. So then all the data goes to your shop management system. You have all the information about the job and the work and the revenue. And we tie that all back into, okay, this is where it came from. This is how much money you got. Start all over again. So that is kind of where online scheduling falls into this ecosystem. But this is also going over a lot of the things that we were talking about here, is being able to attribute, no matter how you're marketing, being able to attribute it, having a really good call to action. Call the shop or schedule online.
Yeah.
It gives the customer a great experience. It's easy for them. And yeah, you should always be promoting online scheduling in all the different channels.
Very cool.
There you go. Take all these. We said most of them. I think we hit everything. Did we hit everything? Google Biz, text and email blast. We didn't even talk about text and email blast at our
Yeah,
CRM.
right.
That's
No,
one of the most common ones. One thing, and this is just something I added this because I feel passionate.
Right.
On your website, have a clear way for a customer to book online. It's sad the amount of websites I see where you have to scroll down to like the middle of the page to find like a book online button. No matter, even if you have a contact form, have a book appointment button clearly above the fold. I like one in the header and one in the middle part of the website. So
yeah,
make sure you do that. Most of your marketing is heading at some point to your website. So have a really clear option for them.
Very cool.
Do you, on your mailers, do you have QR? Do you do any mailers, Darren?
No, I don't do any mailers at all.
I was going to say, you guys are probably, if you're booked out a month and a half, I don't know if I'd recommend sending mailers out.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of shops have had luck with it. I just don't do it. So
sure. Yeah, it also, I mean, it varies differently on the area. I know you're where in Utah are you again?
Grand Junction, Colorado.
Colorado, sorry.
Yeah.
And so yeah, some areas are better than others. Obviously, dense populations help with
Yeah.
that a lot.
But putting a QR code on the flyer is a great idea, though.
Yep. This is something I also feel very passionate about.
Okay.
When it comes to the money you spend on Google, and I know you brought up Google AdWords, Google all these things. Google last year, AutoOps was the first, but there's multiple other providers. They released the ability for auto shops to add a book online button to their Google business profile.
Okay.
I thought this was going to be huge. This is why I reached out to Google. I thought it was going to be big. I thought it was going to be popular, but it's been even more popular, I think. When we look at AutoOps, we scheduled somewhere around 470,000 appointments so far this year.
Okay.
26% of those appointments come through these Google buttons. These Google buttons show on your Google business profile. It shows on the map pack. If you are spending any money with Google, have a book online button.
Okay.
We're a provider. There's now 4 other providers. They're like a new provider every other day. There's many companies out there that offer this. Once again, it would be cool if you came to Auto. Sure, come up. But there's 4 other providers. Get a book on. If you are spending money on marketing, this button, you can get it for, depending on the package, it's very cheap. And yeah, it's great for converting traffic. If you're spending money on Google, have a Google book online button.
Okay.
I'm assuming you've been familiar with this program, Darren?
Yeah, a little bit, not much, honestly. Like I said, we don't do any
Yeah.
booking online at all. So
Yeah, it's something that restaurants had it for a while, and it got really popular with restaurants, but dentist appointment, hair appointments, and yeah, I was do you want to hear the real inside story? The real inside story to how I contacted Google. So AutoOps was the first one that Google ever worked with to do integrated automotive booking, which was super cool.
that is
But
cool.
I was going on a date, and this is April 2023. I was going on a date. I booked a date at a restaurant through these book online buttons for restaurants. I went on the date and it was a bad date. It was a first date. Just didn't go well. I was all bummed. I come home, I'm sitting there all bummed out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work. I'm upset. Let's dive into some work like normal. And I was sitting there and I was like, wait, why was I able to schedule at that restaurant, but I can't schedule at a shop through Google? I sent Google a message that night, and I didn't hear back for a few weeks, and then I got an email and they said, hey, we've been looking to get into automotive booking. We'd love for you guys to be the first provider. So once
That's
again, a ton of
cool.
other providers now, but yeah, it was super cool.
That's a cool story. Powering through,
But
right?
yeah, maybe I powered through. Yeah, maybe I should I owe some credit to whoever I went on the date with. I don't
Yeah,
recall.
that's great, you know. Yeah.
Yes, I feel passionate about that. Once again, if you're the type of shop that says, hey, I don't do any marketing on Google, okay, maybe not. But if you are spending money on Google, have this. So
Yeah.
you convert better.
So if you guys,
We talked about,
they can have you do it, and you said that so they can just something that they can set up through another company then to get that done if they don't use you, or how does that work?
yeah, there's I think 5 providers now.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of CRM companies have the providers. And I think the 5 companies, which once again, I'll give
Yeah, but they should just come to
some
you
people
anyway
else are
because you'll take better care of them,
they're
right?
gonna listen. We'll take the best care of them, but this is why I tell people, go online, go look at all the online scheduling products. I'm not scared of being a company that just focuses on online scheduling. We should do the best job in this. So
Oh yeah,
we
of
don't do
course.
any we don't do any yeah, I mean, we don't do any like marketing. We don't build websites. We don't do it. We have a partner that does CRM. We recently partnered with Steer for that.
Right.
But we don't personally do the CRM stuff. We just focus on this all day. But yeah, we'll take the best care of you. But it's really cool. Honestly, this part is so cool for me that I'm just glad that auto shops have the ability to do it. It was once you start looking at it, it's crazy that they didn't have the ability to
And
do
why
this
not?
before, and that every business could except auto shops. So.
Okay.
We talked about if you're posting something on social media, get a link in there. This is Herb's Garage. Put a link right there, schedule an appointment easily. Text and email blasts. Maximizing the phone. This is the last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll pass it over to you,
No worries.
Darren. If I had to ask you, it's a little bit of I should have asked you the question before I went to this page.
Right.
We like when people schedule online, but what's still the number one way someone schedules an appointment?
By phone call, that would be my guess.
Call in the shop. Yeah, call
Yeah,
in the shop.
exactly.
It's probably for most shops, I would say even our best customers are at 40, 50%
Okay.
scheduling online. They're still getting most of their appointments by people calling in the shop.
Yeah.
What we thought through is how do we convert on this? We're converting better on the website, on Google. How do we convert better when someone's calling the shop? We want to start after hours. We said that's really the time where they're losing a lot of the customers because people call the
Okay.
shop, they get off work late, they call the shop, and usually they just get, hey, this is Steven's Auto. We're closed right now. Leave a voicemail. And
Yeah.
either they hang up because no one really wants to leave a voicemail, or they leave a voicemail. You're trying to track them back down in the morning. And we said, how can we convert better? So what we did, and I'll just show it here real quick, is we said, hey, let's try to give people the option to schedule online when they're calling the shop, especially
Yeah.
after hours. So I'm going to show you one way you could set it up here.
Okay.
I think you should be able to hear it through my. Okay, let's see if you can hear it.
Thank you for calling Fafel Auto Works. We're currently closed. If you're calling to schedule an appointment, press 1 and we'll send you a text message to book an appointment quickly and easily. If you're in need of towing or roadside.
So then you can kind of set up all your other menu. Hey, press 1, press 2 for towing, press 3 for directions. But if I press 1,
we just sent you a text message which should arrive soon. Click on the
and then I'll get a text message to schedule the appointment. So
Cool.
we're always trying to think. If you're spending money on marketing, if you're
Yeah.
having, whether they go to your website, whether they go to Google, whether they call your shop, let's convert them.
Yeah,
Let's
we want to
convert
get
them. Let's
converted.
give them,
Exactly.
let's give them the option to schedule online, engage with customers how they want in a way that's super easily and frictionless. So that's what I got to talk about today. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm honestly, every time I talk about it, start getting like amped up because, yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. If you're spending money on marketing, spend a little bit of money to
Yeah.
convert them. Your schedule.
Oh, that's great. I mean, why not? If you're already having that touch point, might as well make it easier for them, as easy as you can. So back to that question that nurses asked. So, I mean, do you guys have do you think there's an increase in no-shows? I mean, obviously, if you're booking more appointments, you're going to, but is there any other way to limit that down besides contacting them? Like you said, the hour before, 2 hours before, whatever it was, however you said your system worked. Because that's a concern for a lot of shops, But I guess the guys that do this, I mean, what do you think? Is it an issue or not?
Yeah, totally. So we just 2 weeks ago, we added the what we needed to answer this with data. So we added the ability now in AutoOps, you can mark this appointment showed up and we show you a conversion rate. So now,
Cool.
as of 2 weeks ago, we're going to start being able to collect data on how many people actually show. Anecdotally, it has went way up for shops. Taking a contact form when a customer does not understand, what's going on here? To, hey, great, it looks like a scheduling tool.
Right.
It pulls up all my information. I can add it to my calendar and show up. Anecdotally speaking, we've heard pretty consistently, we've heard 85 to 90% of my appointments scheduled through AutoOps show up.
That's impressive.
And that's, yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. I tell the psychology, but yeah, from shop owners, when we ask them, hey, do you have more appointments show up? And they say, yes, people show up way more for these appointments. And yeah, I think it's a mix of, they feel like they're actually scheduling, they can add to their calendar, and they get reminders. They get reminders that's also, you can make as many as you want in AutoOps. You can have it at any time frame. You can customize it to say whatever you want. AutoOps reminders are a little more customizable than I've seen from other companies. So I think that helps as well when they customize it and tailor it to their customers.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Let's see here. There's another question. Can you see the shop's AutoOps open leads appointments via cell phone app?
So yeah, a lot of people have, I think so. I don't know. I'm assuming they're asking about a cell phone app to be able to see the data. We have no app with AutoOps. Really, I don't personally see a need for someone to download a new app. Usually people download apps like this and they never use again. The couple of things is you could have it set up via email so that it sends you over when you get a booking and when you get a lead. I personally have it where email notifications pop up on my phone just like an app notification was. So
Yeah.
you can still get like a phone notification when there's a lead and when there's a booking.
Okay.
But we don't have an app, but I'm assuming, I think what people want the app for is mainly for a notification, which I can get via my email provider.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Cool. What other questions you guys have for Steven?
Moment of truth. Any questions? I know, Darrin, any questions? And once again, especially for your situation. Oh, cost, he's going right into it.
Nurses.
AutoOps is 50 grand a month. There's a 5-year contract now. AutoOps in general, when we're talking about especially single shop locations, well, oh no, the 50 grand. 159 a month, no contract or setup fee month to month. I don't know. We try to keep it reasonable. I really do feel like the pricing. I think with AutoOps, I've always joked around that if we charged $8,000 a month, I still think it'd be a good deal. I still think you'd make some money. But yeah, 159 a month.
Okay.
No contract or setup fee.
And then, so Nurses has got like, a bunch of locations. So do you have a multi-store discount, or is it just same price for everything? So 159.
Yeah, so we do have a multi. Yep. So it would go down based on the number of locations you have. If you have 3 locations, it would drop to 149 a month.
Okay.
I think 3 and 4, and then if you get to 5, it goes down to 129, 139. So yeah, definitely discounts if you have multiple shops.
Very cool. All right. Good.
I talked to Nurses and his team. I think I had a demo with him, and then I had a demo with his manager. Hopefully we'll get you on board soon enough.
Yeah. I've talked with Nicole, right?
But, yeah. Yeah. There's no other questions. I'd love to make sure we have some time to chat about Ignite.
Go back to your QR code. We don't want to bypass that.
Oh, my QR code. Get it scanned. Yeah, scan the QR code.
If anybody's looking for more information, scan this. Yes. That way Steven can get a hold of you and share you with you more information about his awesome product here. Okay.
Yeah. And I always do this. People yell at me saying I shouldn't put my phone number out, but if anyone ever wants to shoot me a text or call, just through my phone number in the chat there.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm ready to hear more about Ignite.
So guys, to those of you who don't know, we have an event coming up January 24th through the 25th in Dallas. We're actually going to be doing some training for 2 days. Going to do have a lot of industry experts come in and talk to us. We're also going to do some training on Lean manufacturing, Six Sigma. We're going to be going through and learning how to optimize processes and how to make businesses more efficient. And it's a great, awesome thing that Lean does. Lean manufacturing. It's very cool. We went through it in our shop, and it was awesome to see how changing a location of a hoist by 1.5 feet actually made so much more productivity because of how everything was aligned in the shop, and it was amazing. So anyway, lots of good stuff there. We got Stephen Mackey, he's a motivational speaker, is going to be there. We got a bunch of good stuff planned. So hopefully Stephen's going to be there to join us too, so you can come hang out with Stephen at his booth.
Yes, that'd be sweet.
But yeah, well, thank you so much, Stephen, for coming and being a part of this. It's been great. We've learned a lot. Appreciate you taking time with us.
No problem. Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, and hopefully we can chat with some more elite shops soon.
Yeah, sounds great. And thank you so much to everybody who showed up in the audience too. We know you guys' time is valuable. We hope you found some good nuggets here and stuff about how to make life easier for your customers and better for your shop. So you got any questions, reach out to Steven. Let him help you with his product. So cool. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great day.
Have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks.